You're an embarrassment to our party.
I'm sorry you feel that way.
Why don't you get out before you make a bigger fool of yourself?
Newt Gingrich isn't leaving the race, but his campaign team basically left him. This morning, Newt's senior staff, including campaign manager Bob Johnson, told the former speaker they quit. Fred Barnes of the Weekly Standard reports the last straw for the campaign staff was Gingrich's decision to go on a 2-week cruise in the Mediterranean. The good life. His advisors urged him not to go and take so much time from a campaign that was already in trouble. But his wife wanted him to go, and she won the argument. Callista Gingrich obviously has an appetite for the finer things in life, whether it's a 2-week cruise in the Mediterranean or a $500,000 account at Tiffany's. Callista apparently gets her way. Newt plans to relaunch. Here we go. It's a relaunch. Whatever is left of his campaign in Los Angeles on Sunday. In the meantime, many members of Newt's staff are on their way to Texas to help out Rick Perry decide if he wants to run in 2012. Newt's now former campaign manager, Rob Johnson, and senior advisor David Carney are two of Perry's political advisors. For more on Gingrich and Perry, joining me now is Roll Call political reporter Shira Toeplitz. Shira, good to have you with us tonight. You know, Newt still has a bunch of money, doesn't he?
Probably not as much money as he'd like all of us to believe. He does have a national fundraising base, but from what we've read and a lot of the reports that have come out since his staff quit earlier today, the money was running out pretty quickly, and he wasn't fundraising a lot, and man, he was spending it too. A private jet in Iowa, the works.
Well, I'm sure he can go hire other people. How big of a shot is this to Newt Gingrich?
This is what you'd call an implosion. This is a huge shot. If he were to come back from this and at least be competitive in the nomination fight, it would basically be unprecedented. And to come back from this far, it would be tough. And plus, from other reports I've read, he was already having trouble hiring staff. And that was before the rest of his staff quit this morning.
Why don't people want to work for Newt?
I think he's made a couple very serious mistakes on the campaign trail so far. I mean, let's start with his announcement. Remember a couple months ago he was announcing and one of his supporters in Iowa said he was, and then he said he wasn't, and then he really got in 2 weeks later. That was a mess. I think some of your viewers might remember the glitter episode when a gay rights activist threw glitter on him, and that clip you just played in Iowa. It's been a series of blunder after blunder after blunder. And then to top it all off, he went on a cruise for 2 weeks with his wife. I think that was kind of the nail in the coffin.
I mean, this guy gets on Fox whenever he wants to. He's got ample political experience. He was the Speaker of the House. He was the leader of a movement that, of course, wanted to turn America around. He's got all this political experience. How can the guy have such a horrible campaign going?
I think that's a really good question, but I think Newt Gingrich is a kind of an interesting candidate too. That he's very much in his own mind. He's very much in his own head. I've talked to a lot of his former aides over the course of the past couple of weeks while he was in Greece and his campaign was imploding back here stateside. They say it's very much his way or the highway, and if his way doesn't work, well, too bad.
Well, how quickly he has fallen in some years. He had a contract with America, and now he needs a contract for some staff workers.
Well said.
I mean, he really does. If he's going to patch this up, and, you know, money does a lot of things for a campaign. And, I mean, they didn't take Newt's ideas, if he's got any, didn't take his enthusiasm, if there's anything left. Obviously, he's not too concerned about it if he's going to go to the Mediterranean. But the fact of the matter is that he can come out and probably cash whip somebody. There's got to be somebody that's going to step up and say, okay, I'll take the money, and Newt, let's see if we can make a run of it. Is it really going to be that hard to hire people?
It's going to be difficult to hire anyone good. And if you've covered presidential races, you know that a lot of candidates, especially ones that are already on shaky ground, are only as good as the staff they hire in Iowa, New Hampshire, South Carolina, and Florida as well. And will he be able to hire someone? Sure. He can pay them 6 figures or whatever to run his campaign. You can do that. Will they be any good? Questionable. It's hard to imagine anyone with any kind of campaign talent signing on to the Newt Gingrich campaign at this point.
So I guess this means that Rick Perry is no doubt in. Is that your read?
I wouldn't go that far yet. Remember, Rick Perry kind of sent out feelers already that he didn't want to get into the race unless he knew Palin was definitely not going to run.
All right, roll calls. Shira Toeplitz, thanks for joining us tonight. I appreciate it. Tonight in our survey, I asked you, should President Obama fight harder against Republicans who block jobs programs?